Hello there, welcome back. Today is another tale of two things, but it's a different thing. This is the Howard Hawks produced film, The Thing from Another World, and the John Carpenter version. How I'm actually looking at how they differ and what the similarities are, and how you can have two different adaptations which are really good of the same story but be very different films. Now, before I did the Two Idiots video about The Thing and its sequel, prequel, whatever the hell that mess was, you know, The Thing was doing so well until that film, and then they ruined it. But The Thing and The Thing from Another World are both 5-star, top-class films. Just wonderful. Only idiots think otherwise. You know, and that is aimed at somebody. So yeah, the original Thing, I think, from Another World was based on a case of this. Howard Hawks saw the story, bought it really early. So this was early in the sci-fi era. This was the early 50s. This is before the crazy sci-fi revival flying saucers thing really took off. This was one of the early ones. And so it really wasn't any of a genre at this point. So Howard Hawks was interested in playing around with this, but I think he was doing another film, or he was interested in directing this, whatever it was. He still produced it, he still oversaw the script, and he brought in, he used all his own people that were used for other films. So it's basically a Howard Hawks film directed by someone else who was following the Howard Hawks staple and was doing what he was told. So it might as well have been a Howard Hawks film. It just sounds like a Howard Hawks film, it looks like a Howard Hawks film, you know. And it's the same feel. But you can tell there's a slight difference because Howard Hawks didn't direct it. There's always these conspiracy theories, the same way that there is about Poltergeist, where Toby Hooper is the director, but people said Spielberg would really directed it, blah blah blah. And there's no concrete evidence. The same here. It's just because the producer is so strong and has such a focus on what he wants to see, and his dibs in the script and dibs in everything involved in the film, that the actual director has to make do with having a very strong producer. And that's what happens here, really. But it is a very enjoyable film. They took out the one thing Carpenter used, which was the idea that the creature can change shape. But they do have an interesting thing where basically this creature that comes from the skies hits Antarctica. Basically they're a military base in Antarctica. They're watching for the Russians because this is the height of the Cold War. And everyone's bored, really. Everyone's sitting in the bases and they're bored. And they've got up to petty disputes, you know. But good nature, it's just like slightly mocking, but it's no one's taking it too seriously. Everyone's got a job to do. Like in a very Hawksian fashion. Like, no dispute becomes too serious. You know. People mock each other for their mistakes here or there. They play cards. They have reporters coming through. They have all these other people coming through. The captain has had this one night stand with this woman who works in a base further up, a scientific base further away from them, and he's getting mocked relentlessly for that in the first few minutes. Then they have to go to this base because there's signs that something's crashed nearby, so they have to go and investigate it. So they go to the base. No one's quite sure what it is, but no one's really that worried yet. It's just like, I'll have to go and do my job. Like, let's see what this is. We're not going to overthink it. We'll just see what it is. Very kind of common sense actions. And the reporter who's coming through the base at the moment decides to tag along with them because he's looking for a story and he can't find anything, so he figures this crash might be something, you know, who knows. So he goes with them. They land at the base, and it turns out these scientists are saying, look, there's something weird about this. This is strange. This is odd. The pattern of the way the thing crashed does not look like a meteor or anything. It's too much like an actual craft rather than a natural phenomena. So we better go and investigate the crash sites. They go to the crash site, find it. As they try, the ice is so packed and so strong they can't undo it, so they use these explosives to try and break it loose a little bit. which destroys the machine. But which obviously leads to a lot of banter about how incompetent the military are. Because I mean, when they make mistakes in this film, they take the piss at the characters who did the bad action. They don't don't sugarcoat it. It's like that was your fault. That wasn't very bright, was it? Which is one of the charms of the film, is everyone gets it. No one's above getting abuse, but in a very light-hearted manner. But they find a body in the ice that's been, it's basically stuck in the ice. So they bring it out and there's this big, just clumpy body, a clump of ice that comes back with them to the base, and they leave it in a room, a cold room, just to stay on ice until the orders coming through. Someone puts a blanket over the ice because the creature underneath it looks so creepy that it's freaking them out. Turns out this electric blanket and it melts the ice. The creature gets loose and hijinks ensue. And you have the two sides. You have the military side who's like, okay, we have to follow orders, but we have to defend ourselves. And then when the creature gets too far out of control and they realise that it's a mass murdering creature, it's like, okay, we're going to have to kill it. Even though the orders coming back saying try and keep it alive, it's like, nah, we're killing it. There's no way that this thing can survive. And you have the scientists who want to study it, because this creature is from a plant life, which is very different from a animal evolution. It's obviously intelligent enough to have a spaceship. It lives in blood, so it needs human blood, or it needs any kind of blood to survive. So it's a very different evolutionary track. So they try to work it out, and they think because it travels so far, it must have intelligence, and it must have empathy and all the rest of it. And the soldiers are like, no, this thing looks upon us the way we look upon food. It doesn't care about our ideas of being smart. It doesn't care. We are just food for it. We have to kill it. So it becomes a battle between these two sides against this creature. What do we do to the creature? And eventually the military win and they kill the creature through burning it alive, through electrifying it, you know. And the creature itself is one that was very inspired by Frankenstein, and everything's shot in black and white, so there's a lot of good use of shadows. And the creature is very well used because you don't see it very often. But when you do see it, it's underlit and you get a sense of a presence, really a disturbing presence that's very dark and will kill anything, and it's very brutal. So it has a kind of thing of the Terminator kind of presence in the first film, where basically this thing is out to get what it needs, that's it, doesn't care about anything else. So that's why it's disturbing. It looks very weird but menacing. So it's a very well planned out creature. The creature's also intelligent and also planned tactically. So it's very smart. What's really good about the film is even the people you can see are the villains, apart from the creature, are the scientists who are trying to study it. Well, it ends up siding with the military, and the military end up with the right idea that they have to destroy this creature. They don't dismiss the scientists out of hand. It's like, okay, you have a point of view that we do not agree with. We're going to try and respect your point of view as much as we can, because we know you need to research this creature. But you also have to be fair with us and tell us what you're doing. So there's a point where the scientists who are not sleeping, they're just so tired, they've lost their ability to actually plan ahead. They've got some seeds from a hand that's been cut off the creature, and they've put blood in the seeds and realise the creature grows with blood and it can spread through having lots more blood, and it can build new creatures from itself. And it's like, they need to know this information, but because the scientists do it in a weird way, it causes problems. And scientists are trying to keep stuff to themselves and are not thinking straight, and it is just a difficult situation for the lead characters. But they get through it and they kill the creature. And the thing is, at the end, when they've told the military, look, this is what happened, the military, okay, that's fine. They actually do not throw the scientists under the bus. They actually say they were brave too, and they don't say, oh, they acted crazy. It's like, no, that's not the way you do things. These people were tired, exhausted, they made mistakes. we're not going to destroy their lives because they made a mistake, especially since we actually got the thing sorted anyway. And that's what's admirable with the film, is like, it has a humanity of, we're not going to destroy people just because we disagree with them. We'll work with people who we disagree with, and we'll find a solution. And even if someone makes a mistake, that's a mistake. It's not like they're defined by that one mistake. And that's just wonderful. The film, it's very humane. I mean, it portrays the military characters as humane. They're people in a job. They're not like automatons who follow every order to the latter as if it's come from God himself, type of thing. So now they mock some of the decisions, they mock some of their supervisors behind their backs. They don't care. And so that's what's enjoyable about it, is that they have this humanity to them, a sensibility that's about being decent. And there's a subplot with a romance between the captain and the woman who he flung with. It's really wonderful. It's very Howard Hawksian. You know, they're grown-ups, they mock each other, they have fun with each other. Like, when they're both equals, really. They treat each other as equals. Even though one's a captain, one's a secretary to a scientist, they treat each other as equals. As people, really. And no one's got anything about how high their rank is or anything. People respect rank because someone's got experience. But they're still going to mock them a little bit. You know, it's just it resembles a working class environment, really, where people have to take abuse and give it and take it and have some fun with each other on the job. It's a wonderful, humane film, and which makes a creature coming in being this horrible thing feel even more inhumane, because they're actually attacking people we like and who you actually want to see survive and do well. So The Thing from Another World is a wonderful film. It's become underrated in a sense because it used to be thought of as this great classic. Then John Carpenter made his version, and for about a decade afterwards his version was hated because it wasn't the original. And then a switch came and it's like, no, the remake is terrific, it's a wonderful film. And then it came a switch of the remake's the superior film, and this film has been kind of thrown away, and it's like, no, this film is wonderful. You can have two great films based on the same story. It's possible. And this is a good example of it. The same way Scarface has two great Scarfaces. You have the original Howard Hawks one, and you've got the De Palma one. It can happen. So now we go to the John Carpenter one. This will be less. There'll be less than this one because I've already covered it in two videos. You've got the video I made, Beautiful Disasters, and the 2 Idiots video. I'm bringing it up is because it's like a film that's so different from the original. And that's all I'm going to cover, and then I'll move on. I'll just say go watch the other videos. It's different because the characters in the remake are dehumanised, they don't have warmth for each other, they don't particularly like each other, they're kind of antagonistic even before the film begins. They're stuck in a plot world they do not like, this ice. And they get paranoid really quickly, even before the monster arrives. There's some paranoid people there who have their own problems and who just don't like people. You feel a lot of these people went there because they don't like people. And McCready, the lead character, obviously does not like people. They have scientists who are not idealistic. You get a feel with these scientists, they are like the second or third base scientists. They're not at the top of the line or anything. They're just there to keep looking at the statistics and have these experiments. They're not really the top people. So when the Thing arrives there and the Thing becomes the shapeshifter, so you're never quite sure if your friend is a thing or if you're a thing, and it's another level of paranoia, so it becomes a very different film, a very cold film, a very strange, dark film. And I mean that as a compliment. I say strange. It is a strange film. There's a nihilism there that it's unusual for an American film. You know, because it just is. It's like no one gets out of here alive. I mean, the end of the original Thing, most of the characters apart from the Thing survive. It's a very good-natured film about the people. People get injured in that film. A few people die. And the way the bodies are described, it's horrible how they died. But it's made to make a point and they move on, but most people survive the original. and it's still a really good horror film, a good suspenser, because you like the characters. In the remake, you don't like them, but they're very interesting. It's like, you couldn't imagine yourself going for a drink with most of these people, but they're very interesting, but they're very neurotic and dysfunctional. And you see everything, you see all the blood, all the gore, and it's kind of almost like an expression of dysfunctionality within these characters. It becomes this kind of existential threat of your life means nothing, your personality means nothing, everything you thought of yourself means nothing. It's the exact opposite of Think from Another World. That's one of the reasons why I think this film was so hated, because it's not just a remake, it's a remake that throws out everything that the first film did and did its own thing. It's almost the exact opposite of the first film. But that's an adaptation of the book. The book was much more like that, and Hawks threw a lot of stuff out and actually made his version of it. So, which is a much more humanistic version. In this film, Carpenter took the book and made a much more nihilistic version just after Escape from New York, where he seemed to be going through a darker phase in his career, and the thing is wonderful, and it is just so dark, but it is kind of, the special effects do almost feel expressionistic of the inner angst of the characters and how the characters are just twisted and weird and just don't want to get alive, it seems at times. It seems like they're so self-destructive. It's like, why, just take me and just destroy me. And if they're trying to fight, but they have no faith in their own ability to survive, they have no faith in each other to survive, and even the ones who are trying to survive, they have no faith in any of the logic they'd follow and to actually survive, because they think their leaders may be the thing, and even if they're not the thing, they're incompetent. And it's wonderfully paranoid, and you get this feeling of doom through that film. Even before you get to the end, you know it's not going to end well. Well, the original, no matter how horrible it gets for the characters, you always have a feeling these people know what they're doing, they will survive in some way, they will find a way through it. The Thing, no, that's not going to happen. So these are two wonderful films. One embraces the better side of humanity, and one embraces the darker side. So in one base it goes, we will survive, and one base it goes, we cannot survive. And it's very interesting to see two different versions of the same story that takes the same idea of people trapped in Antarctica versus a monster from outer space, and how different they go with it, and how both can be legitimate and be artistic and be very unique. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not sure how much sense it made, but I thought it would be interesting to do a video about The Thing versus the original Thing. So I'll see you soon with another video. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.